We're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. And now you're going to believe us. And now you're going to believe us. And now you're going to believe us. We're going to win the league. Hey guys, watching and welcome to another video. How are we doing on this glorious Thursday? I know if you're a Liverpool fan like myself, you are absolutely happy and excited because of the events that took place last night. Liverpool 2, Newcastle 0. That is how the game finished at Anfield, and it means so much more because of obviously the implications of the title race. At the same time that Liverpool were playing, Arsenal once again dropped points at the hands of Nottingham Forest. They played out a goalless draw at the City Ground, and as news filtered through to Anfield of Arsenal's result, Liverpool went on to secure the victory against Eddie Howe's Newcastle side in what was set to be a tough game that Liverpool handled brilliantly well, winning by 2-0. Goals from Dominic Szoboszlai and Alexis McAllister secured the victory on the night for Arne Slot's men, and they have now extended their lead at the top of the table to 13 points. That is a 5-game swing. Arsenal do have a game in hand, but with 10 games left for Liverpool, 11 games left for Arsenal, it will mean that Liverpool will need to lose a lot of their games, and Arsenal will need to pretty much be perfect from now until the end of the season in order for a massive comeback, in order for a massive bottle job to potentially happen. It seems, it's not over yet, it seems that Liverpool are closing in on Premier League title number 20. It's a glorious, glorious day to be a Liverpool fan. We're going to be talking about last night's game. We're going to be talking about the Premier League title race and everything else in between. But before we go any further in discussing all of that and much more, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section as well. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure will make for great and interesting reading on Liverpool, the performance and the result of last night. Everything like that will make for great and interesting reading, I'm sure. But without further ado, let's get on with the video, shall we? Let's get on with talking about Liverpool, the title race, the result and performance of last night, and everything else in between. Wow. Glorious. Absolute scenes of glorious emotion. Glorious, glorious, glorious scenes that took place at Anfield last night. The way the fixtures were done were a bit annoying. I would have liked to have seen other games from last night. There were a lot of big games that were taking place. Tottenham versus Manchester City, for example. United Ipswich was also playing last night. There was obviously the Forest Arsenal game. But of course, my attention and my focus was on my beautiful, beautiful club right here in Liverpool, who were going to be facing a pretty tough test in Newcastle. Playing at Anfield, it's always going to be difficult to come up against Eddie Howe's side. And of course, this is a somewhat bit of a dress rehearsal for the Carabao Cup that is set to take place in a couple of weeks' time. The final will obviously be played out between these two teams as well. So a bit of a dress rehearsal for that. But this was in a Premier League setting. And like I say, this has made a lot of people now think that the title race is done and dusted. Liverpool win. Arsenal again drop points. Liverpool extend their lead to 13 points at the top of the table. Arsenal are currently playing very poorly. They're not playing with the same sort of cutting edge and same sort of swagger that we have seen from Arsenal in recent years. People think the title race is done and dusted. And even myself thinks that surely we can't bottle this from this point. Surely we can't go on to have one of the most catastrophic collapses in not just Premier League history, but football history. Surely that cannot happen. I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm praying it doesn't. And I'm putting my faith in the fact that Arne Slot and this Liverpool team are going to go on and secure everything from this point of view, from this point forward. We're going to go on and we're going to secure the Premier League title fairly comfortably, with all due respect, from now until the end of the season. Like I say, 13 points is a 5-game swing, and even though Arsenal do have a game in hand over us, it would still take Arsenal to be pretty much perfect from now until the end of the season. And as we know, Arsenal have got some pretty tough games coming up. They are without a strike force that is scoring goals and creating clear-cut opportunities. They have got issues of their own. Liverpool just need to remain calm. We know we haven't got the job done. Dominic Szoboszlai at the end of the game said himself, the job is not done yet. I like that kind of mentality. Let the fans get carried away. Let the fans get all crazy and rowdy and excited at the prospect of bringing home number 20. And let the players do the business on the pitch. Southampton is coming up next in the Premier League. We've obviously got Champions League between now and then. We have some pretty tough games ourselves. But they should be somewhat manageable, especially with the way that we've been playing. Especially with the way that we've played all season. And, you know, that kind of moment of madness, the moment of worry that I personally had after the Everton games and the Aston Villa games now seems a long way in the past, because we've gone against Manchester City. We dominated. It was a masterclass of a performance. And last night was another masterclass of a performance against what could have been a very difficult and very tricky Newcastle side. Right off the bat last night, all eyes turned to the team sheet, and there was one big noticeable absence on the opposition team sheet, and that was Alexander Isak for Newcastle. That would have been a massive boost to Liverpool not seeing his name on the team sheet, and Arsenal fans were raging online. Arsenal fans very angry, claiming Liverpool were again fortuitous with injuries going into their games. Angry at the fact that Isak's pulled out with injury. They didn't even handle their own game. So once again, Arsenal fans looking further afield rather than at their own club. It sort of backfired on them a little bit last night. It was still always going to be a difficult task against this Newcastle side. And that's somewhat what it proved to be for a little bit of time at the very least. I think once the first goal went in, apart from one major sort of scare, I didn't really have any sort of worry, should we say, about Newcastle. They barely laid a glove on us, and I think that is down to the way that we set up. I think that is down to the defensive side of our game, which has drastically improved over the past couple of games. Konate and Van Dijk being imperious, our midfield being incredible right now. Our midfield, the blend of Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai, absolutely perfect once again on the night. And like I say, apart from one moment where Callum Wilson got in behind Konate and Van Dijk when we went 1-0 up, I don't really remember being threatened. I don't really remember Alisson making any sort of real save of note. I don't remember any sort of major worry in Newcastle penetrating or breaking through our defensive structure. Full credit to Arne Slot, who was in the stands that night. Full credit to the coaching staff and full credit to the players for carrying out a very well executed game plan on that very night. Liverpool could have actually had a penalty. This is my one moan, I guess you could say, about the entire night. How Liverpool did not get a penalty in the opening few minutes, I do not know. Because the ball is played through to Mohamed Salah, and he's going up against Lewis Hall. Very good defender, Lewis Hall. He had a very good game, I felt. He actually kept Salah relatively quiet for most of the night, I guess you could say, barring a few exceptions. Salah had a very good game. I did think Hall had a decent enough game that he won't want to kind of repeat, although he will probably have to repeat it in a couple of weeks' time in the Carabao Cup final, like I say. But I did think, like, I was sat there scratching my head as to why the referee has not given a penalty to Mohamed Salah for Lewis Hall's foul. Hall goes to foul Salah. He goes to try and stop him from latching onto a through ball. And Salah just basically brushes past him. Hall loses his footing. He trips Salah. He takes Salah down. And the referee gives a free kick to Newcastle for a foul from Salah. It was bizarre to me. It was absolutely bizarre that was not given. Salah plays on with a smile on his face. He doesn't quite get it, but he's playing on with a smile on his face. And he played with a smile on his face throughout the entirety of the game that he played. Like, he was absolutely brilliant last night. A lot of people, again, criticise Salah and say, well, if he doesn't get a goal and he doesn't get an assist, what does he do? He creates. He works hard. And that's exactly what he did all night. He worked hard. And he was just setting up teammates at will. And obviously he gets his assist in the second half. He gets his customary goal contribution per game that he's obviously seemingly getting a lot this season in the vast majority of games. But again, it could have been more for him. He almost set up Trent in the second half. He almost set up Diaz in the second half. He was just playing that ball that he loves to play, that sort of trademark Mohamed Salah pass with the outside of his left foot to try and bend it towards the back post time and time again. And it was close to paying off nearly every time. It was again another ridiculous performance from the Egyptian king. That unfortunately, I guess you could say, if you were to be nitpicking, didn't result in him getting any more goal contributions in the game, which was somewhat unfortunate. But at the same time, again, another very good performance from Mohamed Salah, despite not getting a goal in the game. He got an assist, but not a goal, unfortunately, for him. But that kind of set the tone. It may not have been a penalty because the referee, for whatever reason, had a complete brain-dead moment, and for whatever reason, VAR decided to not get involved, even though I thought it was a bit clear and obvious. It was a foul on Salah rather than against Salah. And as we saw this past weekend in the Everton-Man United game, VAR does interfere and VAR does change things, and clear and obvious is still this thing that I don't quite understand, but we'll let it be. It wasn't long before Liverpool actually did break the deadlock. Dominic Szoboszlai, brilliant counter-attack. Diogo Jota found Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz cuts the ball back after going inside the penalty area to Dominic Szoboszlai, and Szoboszlai finishes very, very well. You maybe could argue the goalkeeper maybe should have got to it, but Szoboszlai gets another goal contribution, and he is on fire right now. The run of form he is on, he's absolutely brilliant. He was unbelievable again last night. Covered every blade of grass. Played very well. Just his decision-making in recent games has definitely improved. And now that he's actually starting to shoot more, it's actually getting to a point where we're excited to see more and more of Dom Szoboszlai playing in a Liverpool shirt. I was a bit critical of him at the beginning of the season, but there's no doubt about it. He seems to have grasped an understanding now as to what Arne Slot wants from him. He seems to be getting the confidence now to go and be trying his luck at goal from time to time, and obviously joining attacks, and obviously playing the right ball at the right moment. It seems to just be gelling right now for him. And I think as well, he's getting even more of a better understanding alongside Gravenberch and McAllister. And I think those two are helping him and he's helping them. And it's just a brilliant midfield trio that we have developing right now. That is just, again, to use the word, glorious. Absolutely glorious to witness. And what I will say is that at the beginning of the season, it was all about Gravenberch. The main focus of the attention was on Gravenberch. He'd obviously not had the best of seasons on his debut season at Liverpool, but he was developing really well, obviously under Arne Slot. But it was always going to be interesting to see how he developed as a defensive midfielder. So all eyes were on him at the beginning of the season. He started to play really well. He became a revelation in that position. It was like, wow, we didn't actually need to go out and buy anyone. We had Ryan Gravenberch. I still think we do, because I still think if something was to happen to him, we obviously need cover. We need him to obviously rest from time to time. So I still think we may need some cover in that position. But that's obviously for the summer to obviously bring about, hopefully. But then obviously the focus has now shifted to Dominic Szoboszlai and how incredible he has been in recent games. The one common thread throughout the entire course of the season has been Alexis McAllister, who has kind of knitted it all together, who has kind of been Mr. Consistent and has been so brilliant throughout the course of this campaign that he somewhat goes a little bit under the radar and a little bit underrated because of the incredible job he's doing. Keeping the tempo going, keeping the ball moving, keeping things ticking over, and of course pitching in with some of the dirty work and occasionally the odd goal and assist, as he got the goal last night. Because Liverpool go on, we have that one moment of a scare from Newcastle, but then Liverpool go on to control the game, and it's another incredible controlled and measured performance that stems from the midfield, which is obviously fronted by Alexis McAllister, by Dominic Szoboszlai, by Ryan Gravenberch. It's a brilliantly controlled, measured midfield that aids the defence and obviously helps spring forward for attacks as well. Mohamed Salah's trying his best to get everybody on the score sheet, it seems, but to no prevail. And then, just as news is filtering through that Arsenal have dropped points at the City ground against Nottingham Forest, a couple of minutes later, Liverpool again counter-attack. Alexis McAllister finds himself in all sorts of space in the midfield. He drives forward. He plays in Mohamed Salah. Tries to beat the defender, but manages to keep the ball in the penalty area before teeing up McAllister, who just rockets it into the top corner. It's a fantastic finish from the Argentine midfielder. It's a fantastic goal, and that absolutely kills the game off from there. And then what I love from that point of view is, from that point forward, is that Liverpool just go on and control the game from there. Like, there's no real urgency to go forward, but we're still creating opportunities. We're still creating chances. Newcastle are trying to maybe get back into the game, maybe give a little bit of a fight back, but Liverpool are just controlling the game. They're just striding through the game. Again, we bring on the likes of Wataru Endo, who's just putting his body around and just trying to win the ball back for Liverpool at every opportunity. We bring on Curtis Jones. We bring on Jerome Kwanzaa for Trent. We bring on Cody Gakpo. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous the way that we see things now. We are controlling games. We can adapt. We can change. I love that about us. Yes, there have been a few times this season where it hasn't quite worked out, but the way that obviously we've learned from our past mistakes, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Slot probably got a better view of it with it being in the crowd. I've got a feeling the referee probably would have was actually glad that Slot was maybe in the crowd for that penalty call that wasn't given. But I just like the way that we played last night. It was well controlled, it was well measured, and it was a brilliant professional performance. A brilliant professional performance by Liverpool that saw us get the 3 points, that saw us go 13 points clear at the top of the table, and are now closing in on our 20th league title. It's poetry. It's absolute poetry. It's beautiful. But now we need to see it out. Sorry. One thing I will say. It's not over and done with yet. We know that. The players know that. It's not over and done with, but it is likely to happen. If Arsenal obviously continue playing the way that they are doing, that will obviously help us as well. But now it's going to be interesting to see the next sort of challenge, because the Champions League, obviously, that's resuming next week for Liverpool. That's going to be an interesting battle against PSG. if we get past PSG, we're in a tough half of the group. But we should still consider ourselves one of the favourites to maybe go on and make it to the final. And then, judged by the other half of the draw, we should actually be favourites if, of course, we get there. It's going to be interesting to see how Slot manages the team from that point of view. The rotation side of things, keeping things fresh, not trying to overwork the players, obviously trying to keep injuries down to the barest of minimums. It's going to be interesting to see how he does, because if we wrap this title up, everyone's saying that this title was wrapped up by February, but it's not mathematically wrapped up yet. If we wrap this title up, say, the next 1 or 2 games, which I think could be possible, 1, 2, maybe 3 games could be possible. It's going to be very interesting to see how Klopp, Jesus Christ, how Slot, because Klopp was going to be my next point, how Slot rotates, how Slot goes about his business in terms of obviously trying to maybe for them turn his attention and focus to the Champions League. We've seen it before where Klopp in recent years and in the Jurgen Klopp era had tried to do that before. It didn't quite work out. I want to know how Slot wants to do it. I want to know how Slot is going to judge that kind of competition, how Slot is going to judge the squad depth, the main focus of the squad. It's going to be very interesting to see how he manages to juggle all of that stuff going forward. If, of course, we do make it further into the Champions League, but that is for them to work out. This is the here and now, and the here and now is Liverpool are 13 points clear at the top of the table. Liverpool are going strong. Liverpool are closing in on title number 20. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that we don't bottle it from here. I don't necessarily think we will, but of course, stranger things have happened. But I wouldn't have sang the song if I didn't believe. I wouldn't have sang the song at the beginning of the video if I didn't believe. And with the way that we're playing right now, it's an absolute beautiful day to be a Liverpool fan. Hey, and that is what I've got to say on all of that stuff and much more. Like I say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever I'm going to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of Liverpool's performance, result, Premier League title race, and everything else in between of last night? Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling. All things Liverpool down below in that comment section. Use and abuse that section, people, and talk to me on this. Would love to hear from you all. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things, as always, and forever be greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Thank you all so much for your continued or even brand new support to the channel. If you are brand new, welcome along to the journey and the adventure that we're on. Either way, you are amazing, you are brilliant, you are awesome, and I cannot thank you enough. Will always be appreciated and never taken for granted your support. So thank you all so much, you awesome, awesome people. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you speak to you all again soon in another video, live stream, or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.